Before I start my Druid guide, I'd like to give you guys a bit of a background since there's a lot of new players coming in on who I am so that you know the knowledge in which you are receiving is coming from a very reliable source. So, my name is Poshypop. I've been playing Cleric in trios for the past 3 wipes with some of the most talented players in Dark and Darker, 2 of the best IGLs in my opinion in the game, Apollo and Toddfather. As much as controversial figures they are, I truly do think they are like top 3, top 5, like up there IGLs in the game. There's honestly top 3. There's not many good IGLs in this game. And I know it really doesn't mean anything given the system that the ranking system was working upon, but I've been demigod every season upon release of the ranking system. I've spent many hours creating guides, resources, videos, coaching for both team playing and team play and Cleric. And I don't like saying this, I'm not this kind of guy. I'm just saying what people think, but many people in the Dark and Darker High Roller Trios community accredit or claim that I am the best Trios Cleric in the game. Hey, I'm not saying it, it's just other people are saying it. I've also participated and won many tournaments in Dark and Darker. I've won private 1v1 tournaments like 2 to 3 times, where it was like a $100 prize pool. I won the Seriously Soapy Duos tournament, which was a $900 prize pool per person. I participated in the Madrina's official Dark and Darker Trios tournament and won 2nd place with a $50 gift card or whatever. So honestly, hey, I'm just saying I have some earnings in Dark and Darker, all right? That's a crazy comp, I know. Also, another thing, I want you guys to understand that most of the Druid spells currently do not scale with magic healing and magic power. I do not know if this is an intentional change by Iron Mace, but the only thing you need to understand is Dreamfire currently is the only thing that scales with magic, healing, and magic power. Restore, Mending Grove, Nature's Touch do not. And you can tell by the parentheses in the spell selection thing. It'll say like parentheses 1.0, that means it scales. Nature's Touch, Restore, Mending Grove do not have that. And I have confirmed with the data miners that it is also the case in the files that those do not scale. I don't know if this is an intentional change by Iron Mace, but if they do scale, one thing that I'd like to make very clear is that in my build for Druid, magic healing will be a very big priority if these spells were to ever have magic healing and magic power scaling. So what kind of Druid do I play? Well, for 1, I play High Roller Trios, 3s. 2, I play a support Druid, and 3, it's kind of a hybrid Druid as well. Also, I like to play double frontline mainly. I forgot to add this in. A lot of Druids like to build around Panther, Bear, right? They Agi stack, Strength stack. For me, I kind of build a mix of things. I will get into the specifics of what I build very soon here into the guide, but what I basically do is Druid, we have what we call heals over time. That means I apply the heal on my teammate. The heal is there, it is active over X amount of time, and it's done, it's good. So what I'd like to do is I like to get all my hots on my teammates. If the teammates need more healing, I Dreamfire, Mending Grove. If my teammates don't need healing and they're fine on HP, I get active. Whether it's Poshypouncing, spearing the front line, getting the back line, whatever, right? I get active. That is how I play my Druid, and this is what that guide will cover in more detail. And we'll get to the details very shortly. So, what are the 4 perks that I recommend as Druid? The first perk I recommend, and I'm sorry, this is a bit of a troll perk, is Shapeshift Mastery. I mean, it's not really troll. So, what I like doing is I like doing the quote-unquote the Poshypounce. If it is so cringe, I'm sorry. But what I like doing is I like going Panther, Rush, Chicken, Double Jump, Triple Jump. It's such a nice mobility. It's really good for repositioning, really good for diving. It really fits the hybrid playstyle I like. Now, as you'll see in this guide, I talk a lot about like enabling my teammates as much as possible. Under that philosophy, I definitely shouldn't take this, and I should take Sun and Moon. I should take Sun and Moon here instead of Shapeshift Mastery. But because of my build, and because I like doing the Panther, Chicken, Triple Jump, Poshypounce, whatever you want to call it, I like taking Shapeshift Mastery. Shapeshift Mastery is also really good because it allows me to instantly transform into Bear, the big tanky form in case I'm getting dived, or Rat in case I need to get away from a fight ASAP and things are cooked, right? There's no delay. It's that same philosophy, that no delay, that Wizards have when they take Arcane Mastery. Wizards take Arcane Mastery because it allows them to cast their Invis quicker. I take Shapeshift Mastery because it allows me to transform into Bear, survive dives, Rat, get out of fights, and Panther, Chicken to dive or to reposition or to get height or whatever as the Poshypounce. The second perk I like taking is Dreamwalk. Think of the second perk slot as like your survivability perk slot. This is completely interchangeable with Thorncoat, but I definitely think that Dreamwalk is better than Thorncoat. For your third perk, you could also take Thorncoat and double dip the Dreamwalk, but as you'll see from my third perk recommendation, I do not recommend Thorncoat for your third perk. Why do I not recommend you take these both? I think both of these do a great job at deterring enemies off of you. Now, later on into the wipe, if you are getting dived hella as Druid and you're getting cooked, definitely take both. Take Dreamwalk and Thorncoat. It will make enemies very hard to dive you. But in the current meta, beginning a wipe right now, for the past 4 or 5 days I've been playing, like many hours, I think Dreamwalk is more than enough of a deterrent to stop dives. Also, you can get really creative with Dreamwalk. You can dive the enemy backline, hit an enemy, the enemy hits you back, oh, you're phantomized, and you can cast spells. You can reposition, you can cast walls, roots, treants, whatever you want to do. So this ability, though, this perk is just very good. Not even for the magic power you get into this form, but for the fact that you phantomize upon hit, which is absolutely insane. It makes you basically immune to rogue dives or any kind of dive from any enemy. For my third perk slot, I definitely recommend Spirit Bond. This basically makes my front line way more tankier. So I want you to think about these hots that you cast as a Druid. 2 of 3 of the healing spells, well, 2 of 4 technically, but we don't really count Dreamfire as a healing spell. It does heal, but it's Nature's Touch as a healing. But 2 of 3, I gotta switch this up. 2 of 3 of my heals as a Druid apply a hot on myself. Restore applies a hot on me in addition to anybody near me, teammates wise only. Mending Grove heals everybody in the area. Chances are I'm in the area because I'm the one casting it. And Nature's Touch, yeah, like I probably will just cast it on my teammates, but there's gonna be times where I miss or times that I can cast this onto myself. So I'm going to be getting a lot of healing in fights, but it's not gonna be doing anything. The healing that I'm getting is inactive. The restored hot that I have is not gonna be doing anything. Me being in the Mending Grove is not gonna be doing anything. Spirit Bond makes that healing effective because, like, if I'm in the backline, right, and Todd and Kidney are boxing, and I'm not taking any damage because we're also versing a double frontline, what am I gonna do? I'm just sitting there, like, full HP with Restore on me. But this allows this Restore and this Mending Growth to have effectiveness because I'm taking damage from the Spirit Bond, right? Yeah, there's this thing where it's like, okay, well, if you're in Rat form, you get Spirit Bond, you die because it's like a one-shot. I haven't really experienced that yet. I'm not really a concern for me whatsoever. Just don't go in the rat form while your teammates are fighting. It's pretty easy. Definitely recommend Spirit Bond though as the third. 110%. Makes your teammates tankier, allows you to get value out of your Restore and Mending Grove, etc, etc, etc. My fourth perk recommendation, there's 2 options here. So I'll start with first. I don't recommend Thorncoat at all because I think Dreamwalk is more than enough of a deterrent to stop enemies from diving you, and I would rather allocate this perk slot to helping my teammates more. So you can take either Sun and Moon and Natural Healing. I think both options are really good and really strong options, but I do like Natural Healing a bit more. I don't know. It's just more fun to deal with. It's constant heal that's always ticking. You get a lot of effectiveness out of it in team fights. Sun and Moon is good, but the magic power really doesn't do anything. Maybe I'll run it if I'm playing with like a wizard or something. Because remember, at the beginning of the video, the only spell that you have that scales with magic power in this game is Dreamfire. That is it. It is nothing else other than Dreamfire. Look, no parentheses, no parentheses, no parentheses, nothing. Look, these do not scale, and I've confirmed it with the data miners. This is the only spell for Druid that scales currently in the game. So this magic power is going to Dreamfire. The Vigor is good. It's really good. So it's really whatever you want to take. Sun and Moon and Natural Healing I think are both great options, but I prefer Natural Healing. So why do we not take the other perks? Why do we not take these perks? Well, I'm gonna go through it. Sun and Moon we talked about. Thorncoat we talked about. Sun and Moon you can definitely take. It's not something I don't recommend taking. I definitely recommend taking it. It's just for me, I don't really care about it that much. Enhanced Wilderness. So we're not a furry build. We're not gonna be constantly in bear form or panther form that often, if at all. This doesn't really do anything for the playstyle that I have. It doesn't make me strong. I mean, it gives me armor, gives me more move speed, but like my identity in this build is to support teammates, and when I'm doing damage, I'm not going to be in animal form. I'm going to be in spear. human form spear. So this doesn't really do anything. This could be good with natural healing, but 3 fizz power is very negligent, very negligible. Especially if you're playing with someone that does very low hit swings. Think about it, 3% of 20 versus 3% of 100. Playing with like a rogue and you have force of nature, 3% of 20, because dagger does less damage but more faster swings, is not really going to do much. I mean, it could be good for barbarian, because like fizz power on high hitting weapons, like 150 hits, could be good. But I mean, I don't know. Like, what are you dropping for force of nature here, right? What are you gonna drop? Shapeshift mastery? At that point, you might as well take sun and moon, right? It's just that there's other better options in the game than force of nature. Herbal sensing, we're not RPing here. We're not PvEing, so we're not gonna take this. Spirit magic mastery. As like, this is such a stupid perk, because look, when you cast spirit magic, you gain 10 magic power. What spells scale with magic power? Oh, Dreamfire? That's it? Wow. Okay, I mean, like, if you're going for some kind of Dreamfire build, this is literally the same exact thing with Faithfulness and Cleric. If you're going with some kind of, like, Dreamfire build, sure. Spirit Magic Mastery is not bad. But, like, I'm sorry. I'm not, like, putting all my eggs in one basket and not hoping that, like, I hit these 4 Dreamfires. Because if you miss these 4 Dreamfires and you're like, Spirit Magic Mastery, Sun and Moon, like some kind of crazy magic power build, you're gonna be in for a bad time because nothing else scales and you just waste a whole entire perk slot for nothing that fight. So, you know, these are the perks I recommend. Feel free to comment and share your thoughts on my opinions and whatnot. And yeah. Now, what spells do we take? So, the spells that I recommend taking are your heals. I recommend taking Nature's Touch, Restore, Mending Grove. Nature's Touch is really good because it allows interaction in Dreamfire. The heals you get from Dreamfire and Nature's Touch is insane. This combo here is very strong. Dreamfire is basically better Holy Strike. It does damage and it heals your teammates per target damage. So like, imagine you're hitting like 3 people at once. You're getting 30 health per person that is Nature's Touched. It's crazy. Nature's Touch is a really cheap spell. You get 5. You get them back as quick as like you get Blessed back. Restore, I think, is also amazing. 30 health for 10 seconds. So a bit of context on Restore. What Restore does is you cast a spell, okay, and then everybody around you gets a heal over time. Allies only. It doesn't work on enemies. It's allies only. They get a 30 health over 10-second heal over time. Everybody that's around you. So with this spell, you technically have 9 hots, because let's say each spell cast goes to 3 people, because each spell cast goes to 3 people. 3 times 3 is 9. So that means you have 9 hots total from this. This is just overall, like, a lot of my healing comes from this spell in fights. Restore is amazing. It's just I don't know, like, it's just fantastic. You have to take my word on it. It's a great spell. I mean, I guess maybe if you're like playing some kind of weird comp where your team is never grouped together, Restore might be bad. But in the context of double frontline, which is Bard Fighter, which is what I usually play, Restore is amazing. Mending Grove is also like a Sank. It's exactly like a Sank. It allows you to get these resets off quicker. This is in also the context, once again, of double frontline. I think in double frontline, Mending Grove is definitely swappable for like Treant or something. Treant, Thorn Barrier, Roots, if you're not playing like double frontline. But the reset that you get from like Mending Grove in any comp, like let's say you finish a fight, all right, Mending Grove, everyone come together. It heals so much. Like Mending Grove heals for so much. So this reset potential, this reset capability that Druid has, is kind of essential for most comps in my opinion. There will be some comps for sure where you don't take Mending Grove. And then for your last perk or last spell, there's a lot of good options. In double frontline, I would either recommend Thorn Barrier or Treant. I'm very sure in the near future, Thorn Barrier is going to get nerfed. So you're probably going to take Treant. So why do I recommend Thorn Barrier and Treant in double frontline? So I want you to think about double frontline. Double frontline, what it is Bard Fighter and then me as a Druid. What is Bard Fighter Druid weak against? It is weak against anybody with range or that the Bard Fighter cannot catch. So how do we minimize this range? We minimize this range or this disadvantage that double frontline has by using the Treant or the Thorn Barrier to block space in which the enemy is retreating, to limit space. So what I mean by that is, like, for example, let's say you're versing Ranger, wizard cleric or something, ranger wizard cleric, and they're constantly running away, retreating. What you can do as a druid, you get really creative. You can Poshypounce up to him because it's such a high mobility move set. Panther, rush, chicken, double jump, get right at him, and then cast thorn barriers behind him. What are they gonna do? They gotta break the thorn barriers, and then that allows my fighter and my bard to be able to close the gap and close the space on the enemy so that they can get within range and kill them. It's pretty simple. It works very well. It's also very, like, thorn barrier is also really fun. It allows me to isolate enemies in fights. So like, let's say we're also versing another double frontline comp. What I'll do a lot as druid is I will limit the space of like one of the frontline. Like, let's say we're versing barbarian, bard, cleric. I'll limit the space of the barbarian and keep the bard locked out of the fight or something, so the barbarian is the only one getting hit. Because if we can isolate those fights 2v1 each time, we win every single time, instead of just it being a 2v2 boxing match. As simple as possible, keeping it. So why do I not take some of these skills? Let me move my guy over here. So the reason I don't take these skills is we'll go one by one. Bark Skin Armor is very selfish, doesn't really do anything for my team. It's much more of a solo duo damage kind of thing. Don't really have any reason to give myself more armor. I guess you can make the argument, oh, well, you want to give yourself more armor in case you get dived. Well, you already have Dreamwalk. You don't really need armor, right? This is, if you are dying and you have this perk, like, you are doing something wrong. Entangling Vines got pretty nerfed recently. What it does is it roots the enemy that walk through the vines. This can also fuck up your team. Your team can get rooted in the vines, I believe. Any targets, it says. Yeah, so your teammates can get rooted in this. This is good, I guess, maybe if you're running like Wizard, but like, because of how much nerfs it's received, you're probably better off taking Thorn Barrier or Treant. Tree Life is good if the duration wasn't so low. Actually, even if the duration wasn't so low, it's so bad. You get 5 all and 40 additional recoverable health for 8 seconds. Like, they need to increase the duration on that hella for it to be valuable. And it's a 6 cost. This is the same cost, I think, as like an Earthquake. Let me see. 6 cost. Like, it's 1 cost less than Earthquake. Let's see. Yeah, 1 cost less. That is crazy. That is not even close to being like the value of Earthquake whatsoever. Not even, it doesn't even deserve to be like 6 cost. If it's a 6 cost, the duration better be increased by a lot. So if the duration on this gets increased, definitely takeable instead of like maybe, I don't know, Thorn Barrier, Nature's Touch. I don't know. We'll discuss it in the future if it ever does get buffed. For now, it's not. It's Dookie. Alright, so this section, we're going to go through the animal forms. I'm going to have each form in their own section. I recommend that you watch all of them and listen to all of them, as I will be sharing very critical and important information each. So the first form we're going to be talking about is Panther. So Panther is really good for just roaming around and idling in the dungeon because you gain this 5% move speed bonus. Now, if you ever use Rat for just like walking around with your team to be faster, you need to be aware that you lose 95% of your max HP. While in Panther, you only lose 30%. So Panther is a much safer option if you're looking to move fast throughout the dungeon. Now, if you're getting chased and you need to run away from an enemy or something, yeah, go Rat. You're small, you move way faster with survival instinct, you have more move speed, but you risk your life. So Panther is a much more like great option to just be permanent in all the time, so you move quicker. Important things to remember about Panther form is that the neck bite is a silence when frenzied, which is when you enter rush. So when you enter rush and you use neck bite, which is your right click, you silence for 0.5 seconds. A very small amount of time, but I have silenced clerics with neck bite before when they're trying to kill their teammates and like the enemy dies from it. I don't really use Panther for DPS in my build, not at all really, so don't recommend DPSing in Panther. The next form we'll be talking about is Bear form. So Bear form, when you enter Bear form, you get a lot of physical damage reduction, max health, etc. So it's very easy to think about the use case for Bear here. The use case for Bear is you go Bear whenever someone's diving you and you don't have Dreamwalk on. Super simple to tank, right? You can use your Wild Fury, which is your special skill, to gain more PDR and more physical damage bonus. Your right click is a super strong swing as Bear. That's how you're going to deter enemies that dive you. You can also use your right click to break doors and containers, which is pretty important. I'm still trying to get better at breaking doors, but if you and your team are running, you need doors broken, just hop in Bear, break the door. It takes some learning to get It takes some time to get used to it, but make sure you're using bear form to prevent dives and to deter enemies from diving you. Pretty simple. Next form we'll talk about is chicken form. I'm gonna be honest, the heal sucks. The heal is really, really bad unless you're building it. I literally heal for like not even 10%. Oh no, 10% of my HP about is the heal. It is so bad. I mean, it's definitely better than nothing. Like, it is a free heal at the end of the day, but I don't really ever use chicken form unless I'm trying to get to space where I can triple jump, or I'm doing the POSHYPOUNCE. So mainly look to use chicken form to enter heights or space that is a bit more tricky to navigate into, or to heal, I suppose. Last form we're going to look at is rat form. Rat form is really good for exactly what it is, being a rat, running away from enemies, hiding, etc. Survival instinct with rat form, you do have to be aware that you'll lose the move speed bonus. You have, when the effect ends, lose 20% move speed bonus for 3 seconds. So just be very wary of that debuff you gain when survival instincting. Like, you gain the move speed, but then you lose move speed after. You can get really creative with rat. You can hide in crevices, holes. I'm sure you guys can like theorize and theory craft that you guys have already seen on YouTube. So this is going to be the beginning of the stats section of the guide. Be mindful that this is all related to my playstyle and catered towards my playstyle on how I play Druid. You might want to build other stats in your playstyle of Druid, but everything from here on out will be directly related to my playstyle. So the first stat that I really like building is knowledge. And actually, for the first time in history, I recommend building over the spell cap, mem cap requirement. What I mean by that is, as cleric, what I used to do is I used to recommend for you to only get enough knowledge that you need for your spells, because the amount of knowledge that you would require is so high, and that's when the knowledge spell casting speed curve would start kind of flattening out. But as Druid, you don't really need a lot of knowledge to cast your spells. You need very small amounts of knowledge. So having a little more knowledge will increase the casting time of your spells significantly. And when you can get your spells out quicker, all of your hots and whatnot, it'll allow you to get more active in team fights. Because remember, some of the things that we talked about earlier in the video was my whole playstyle as Druid is 1, getting all your hots out first, 2, checking to see if your teammates are alive and doing well, and then 3, getting active, right? And if they're not doing well, your teammates, so you want to heal them. So the quicker you can get your hots out, the quicker you get all your buffs out, the quicker you can do all your things, the quicker you can start getting active in melee and start making proactive plays. That is why I recommend knowledge. To the point where, like, I wear some knowledge rings, I got an oracle robe. Like, this gear set, by the way, this kit will change drastically from what I have. Druid, you wear many different kind of crazy pieces. So the next stat that I recommend for you to build is Vigor, or Max HP, or Max HP bonus. So that stat is about as old as time in regards to like people wanting to build it. Definitely going to recommend the Forest Hood as a must-wear for Vigor, even in any kind of build for Druid. I think Forest Hood is definitely the way to go. You know, Necklace of Peace gives a lot of Vigor, heavy leather leggings, you know, you look for max HP on your robes, your cloak, boots, etc, etc. So the reason we build max HP as a Druid is that, 1, it makes us more, you know, livable to dives. I mean, we shouldn't really die to dives at all because we have Dream Walk, but it makes us more tankier. 2, when we do want to get more active with our spear, which is our main weapon, the Vigor will allow us to have like boxing room, I guess you could say, fighting room. Like, if you have no HP, you can't box, right? But if you have HP, you can box. It's pretty simple. So giving us that Vigor will allow us to fight for longer, be able to make more confident plays proactively, etc, etc, etc. So the second stat I recommend for you to build is a combo that's like syrup on pancakes. It's True Fizz and Dex. Dex is attack speed. True Fizz is damage. More damage, more attack speed. It's pretty simple. This is kind of why we build Vigor, because this is our alternative playstyle this is our other playstyle in the hybrid Druid build. We have the support and we have the offensive. The knowledge is the support, the True Fizz and the Dex is the offensive. This is the stats that are going to get value when all of our hots are on our teammates. Our teammates are good HP. We pull out the spear and start getting active on the back line. So you can see here, you know, Ring of Finesse, True Fizz, Ring of Wisdom, True Fizz. Ring of Wisdoms with True Fizz are going to be a classic combo for a Druid. They're going to be an amazing combo. the Radiant Cloak here with additional, you got the necklace with additional, the gloves with additional. I'm basically max additional, max true in every build I have. And I don't build a lot of decks, but enough to where like you can see, like here's decks on my robe, here's decks on my legs, decks on the boots, decks on the ring, decks on the hat, etc, etc. Definitely recommend getting around 6 to 8% currently at this point in wipe action speed. Don't know how the stat thresholds are going to change later on in the wipe, but 6 to 8% feels pretty good for the spear. You also got to think about bard buffs as well. But yeah, I mean, dex, true fizz, attack speed, true damage. This is what we're going to be getting value out of when we're done healing our teammates and making sure our hots are all off on our teammates, or all on teammates. The final stat I'd recommend for you to build as a druid is, it's a bit of a one I've been thinking about for a while, but it's going to be magic healing. Magic healing and magic power. So don't build a lot of this. Do not. Like, don't really build too much of this because it's only effective on your Dreamfire. But I thought about the value you can get for Dreamfire. So think about this for a second. Let's say you hit 2 targets. There is 3 people on your team, including yourself, that are nature's touched. So what that means is 2 targets is 20 health per target. Okay, amongst all 3 of your teammates, that is 60 effective HP, and that 60 effective HP is going to be scaled by your magic power and magic healing. So that is going to be crazy. That's going to be a lot of healing. And think about it, it's 10, so it's 10, let's say you have 3 magic healing, plus 3. So 13 actually, times 6. That's going to be, I don't know the number, but it's going to be a big number. And then the magic power obviously scales with that. Pretty good. Like I said, I don't have a lot of it in my build. Like you can see here, I have it on my neck. I have it on my book, a little bit of magic power. Maybe this book will be a bit more better actually. So 3 magic healing, 5% magic damage bonus. This is a way better book. So definitely don't go too overboard with the magic healing, magic power. Now, like I said in the beginning of the video, if Nature's Touch, Restore, Mending Grove, yada yada yada, all get the scaling for magic power, magic healing, that's my #1 recommended stat over knowledge. Magic power, magic healing, 100%. But right now, unfortunately, it's at the bottom of my stat prior list. It is the stat I recommend the least amount to build. So, what is my weapon of choice and my alternate weapon of choice? My alternate weapon of choice is always going to be the spellbook, because the ceremonial staff, unfortunately, all the magic healing it has is a complete waste because it only affects our Dreamfire, as we just discussed like not even a second ago. Your other weapon of choice, your melee weapon, is going to be a spear. Now, Morningstar is definitely viable, but if I'm ever versing a good player with a shield, I am probably going to die every single time if I'm using this Morningstar, because the Morningstar is a very predictable swing pattern. It's very easy to block, while the spear swing pattern is one of the best in the game. It's very easy to hit enemies with the spear, very easy to hit headshots, etc, etc, etc. Morningstar is a much more predictable weapon, easy to dodge, easy to block, all that, while spear, notoriously known, is a very difficult weapon to block. And for the rolls on spear, I mean, these rolls right here are kind of perfect. Weapon damage, fizz power, armor pen, max HP. Rolls you'd look for on any weapon, really, are all good on a spear. Physical power is pretty important, actually, because usually on Druid, we start negative fizz power, so having that fizz power to bump us up to neutral or positive is good, so we don't lose damage. So, don't really know what I missed. Actually, let's talk about gear a little bit. So, gear. I don't really recommend, let's see, if I can recommend any specific gear to wear as a Druid, it's definitely going to be Wisdom Rings with traditional fizz, and Forest Hoods, and necklaces apiece. These are the only 3 pieces of gear, well, including the weapons, obviously, that we just discussed, that I will recommend you fully to wear. There are so many different pieces of gear to get the stat thresholds and the stats that I just mentioned to you not even like 10 minutes ago in the stats section. So many different pieces of gear. As you can see, I got padded leggings, heavy leather leggings. I got chausises, oracle robe, adventurer tunic. I got, you know, reinforced gloves. I got leather gloves with decks. I got cloth pants. I have radiant cloaks. I have vigilant cloaks. There are so many different pieces of gear you can wear as a druid, so I'm not going to recommend you anything specific. Make sure to just try to look around and see what's cheapest to get the stats that you want, but definitely Truth is Rings of Wisdom and Truth is necklaces apiece. Remember, try to get the magic healing on your jewelry. Forest hoods also 100% a must-have on the Druid. Everything else is subject to debate, but I mean, if you want to go off what I'm wearing right here, this is fine. But this is like one iteration of like what I'd be wearing. Sometimes I'd be wearing this, or sometimes I'd be wearing this, or yada yada yada. You know how it goes. Let's talk about playstyle. So in regards to playing as a Druid, I feel like I kind of covered how my playstyle really goes. I've reiterated to you guys like a million different times. So get all your hots off, right? Check your teammates' HP. If they need HP, Dreamfire or Mending. And then if they're fine, get active, pull out the spear, dive the backline, do something, right? There's like a lot of different ways you can play this class. I guess a good strategy that I've been implementing a lot is blocking off the enemy with the wall. So you can Poshypounce onto the backline, start blocking, and then catch out an enemy with the wall. Use your wall or your treant respectively as catching power to catch enemies out. Let me see. You could use Mending to heal your teammates mid-fight. So what I mean by that is try to place your Mending in a team fight towards the edge of where your front line is standing. So your front line is in the Mending while the enemy is not in the Mending, if that makes sense. You don't want to place it right on your front line, because if you do, then both front lines will get the Mending. But sometimes you can put your wall down, or not wall, Mending down to where it is only your front line that is getting the value out of the Mending. Make sure you're keeping an eye on your HP with the Spirit Link, Spirit Bond. Make sure you put a Nature's Touch on yourself if you need it. Make sure you're always looking at the bottom left of your screen to look at the buffs and debuffs respectively of your teammates, because you need to know when your hots are gone off your teammates, when your Restore wears off, or your Nature's Touch wears off. Because if they do wear off, then you need to reapply them because they have no more hots. You also need to make sure that you're not spamming hots too much on your teammates. You need to look at your teammates' hots, see if they're up, and if they're up, don't put another hot on them, because that's not going to do anything. It's a heal over time. It's not going to burst heal them or anything. The only burst heal you have is Dreamfire, really. Everything else is a heal over time. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're always looking at the bottom left of your screen. That is literally all I do. So some concluding thoughts. Druid is a really good class that works well with teams that don't take a lot of damage really fast, as in teams that are tanky. So Bard and Barbarian, Bard Fighter. Double frontline is where Druid excels the most. The utility provides gives the team the advantages it needs to limit their weaknesses. In comps like Bard Wizard, would not recommend running Druid because you need the instant heals like a cleric has to provide. The slow heals don't really fit the wizard playstyle. The wizard needs to go fast. The wizard needs to go like super fast. It's not a slow class, and it doesn't really have the PDR and health to survive hits like a fighter or a bard does. So don't recommend Druid into wizard bard, but definitely recommend Druid into fighter, bard, or barbarian fighter, barbarian bard, etc., double frontline. If you guys have any questions or disagree or agree with anything, feel free to leave them in the comments below and I will respond to them. So appreciate you guys a lot. Thank you very much, and I'll see you guys another day.